The 80s. A decade of neon lights, big hair, ripped jeans, and a whole lot of electric guitars screaming into the night. We all remember the giants: Bon Jovi, Guns N' Roses, Def Leppard. But hidden behind all that glitter and fame were bands that deserved so much more. Today, we're rewinding the tape to rediscover 15 underrated 80s rock bands you might have forgotten. Let's kick this off with Zebra, a trio from New Orleans who somehow blended Led Zeppelin vibes with 80s polish. Their self-titled debut had bangers like Tell Me What You Want and Who's Behind the Door, full of soaring vocals and dramatic guitar riffs. For a moment, it seemed like Zebra was about to be huge. They had the talent, they had the energy. But somehow, the big breakthrough never came. Maybe they were too classic rock for the synth-heavy trends of the time. Still, put them on today and it's like finding a lost treasure. If you ever needed a soundtrack for tearing down an empty highway at 2 a.m., Fastway was your band. Formed by Fast Eddie Clarke of Motorhead and Peter Way from UFO, Fastway pumped out gritty, blues-soaked hard rock. Their album Trick or Treat even became a cult horror film soundtrack. Despite killer riffs and endless road dog energy, they never quite shook the almost famous tag. Icon had the look, they had the sound. Their debut in 1984 was packed with hooks that could melt your cassette player. Songs like On Your Feet and World War had every ingredient for 80s rock stardom. But without the marketing muscle of bigger labels, Icon stayed stuck in the underground scene. Listening now feels like stepping into a smoky bar where the music is way too good for the size of the crowd. Imagine a supergroup with members from Whitesnake, Thin Lizzy, and Black Sabbath. That's Blue Murder. Led by guitar wizard John Sykes, they dropped their debut in 1989, and it's criminal how underrated it is. Bluesy, heavy, melodic, it was everything late 80s hard rock fans could dream of. But timing was cruel. Grunge was lurking just around the corner, and bands like Blue Murder got washed away. One-hit wonder? Maybe, but Fantasy still slaps today. Aldo Nova was a Montreal guitarist who burst onto the scene with a futuristic, spacey kind of rock that blended shredding guitar with synth-driven melodies. His self-titled album went platinum, but after that, radio silence. He disappeared almost as fast as he arrived. Still, when you hear Fantasy blasting through a cracked speaker, tell me it doesn't feel like pure 80s magic. Kix was like your best party buddy who never really got the spotlight they deserved. Hailing from Maryland, they were loud, wild, and lived for the stage. Their album, Blow My Fuse, gave us Don't Close Your Eyes, a ballad so raw it should have been bigger than it was. Kix had that contagious, rebellious spirit that the polished hair metal bands couldn't fake. Produced by Ronnie James Dio himself, Rough Cut had a chance to become massive. Their sound was a perfect blend of melody and muscle, with epic choruses and flashy guitar solos. But stuck between glam metal excess and the birth of heavier thrash metal, Rough cut never found their perfect audience. They're like that band you stumbled onto in an old tape bin and instantly wondered why they weren't legendary. Coming out of Memphis with a bluesy twist, Tora Tora's Surprise Attack album should have been a monster. Their mix of southern rock swagger and hard rock riffs felt fresh compared to the assembly line glam bands. Songs like Walking Shoes were pure road trip anthems. They had soul, grit, and killer hooks. But again, timing was brutal. Grunge rolled in, and bands like Tora Tora got buried. Before Tommy Thayer was playing guitar in Kiss, he was in Black and Blue, and honestly, Black and Blue deserved way more love. Their music was energetic, anthemic, and packed with arena-ready choruses. You set me free and spare me all this misery. They should have been sharing stadium stages with Motley Crue and Rat. Instead, they stayed a footnote. A real shame, because tracks like Hold On to 18 still absolutely rip. Sea Hacks were rough around the edges, in the best way. They had a dirty, street-level sound that felt more real than a lot of the glossy pop metal bands of the time. Their only album, released in 1989, had this raw energy that captures the crumbling end of the glam era. If you like your rock a little messy and full of heart, Sea Hacks are a must-listen. Picture a rougher AC/DC with even more attitude, and you've got dirty looks. Their 1988 album, Cool from the Wire, was full of punchy riffs and snarling vocals. They were built for sweaty club shows where the walls shook and the beer flowed. They never cracked the mainstream, but Dirty Looks captured the true spirit of no frills, no BS rock. Adrian Vandenberg is better known for playing with Whitesnake, but before that, he had his own band, and it was fantastic. Vandenberg combined guitar wizardry with soulful vocals and a European sense of melody that gave their music a slightly different vibe compared to their American peers. Burning Heart is a song that feels like standing on a cliff, arms wide open, staring at the sunset. Pure 80s drama in the best way. Sure, hardcore fans know Y&T, but the casual rock listener? Probably not, and that's a crime. Y&T, short for Yesterday and Today, had been grinding since the 70s, but their 80s albums like Earthshaker and In Rock We Trust are packed with criminally underrated anthems. Dave Meniketti's voice could break your heart or set it on fire, depending on the song. They were journeymen who deserved so much more. Asphalt Ballet brought a bluesy, biker bar vibe to the late 80s hard rock. Their self-titled album dropped right when grunge was about to kill off big-haired rock, but tracks like Soul Survive showed serious chops. They had a streetwise swagger that could have made them massive in another era. Now, they're another name on the long list of what could have been bands. And finally, Prophet, a New Jersey band that should have been huge, especially among fans of Journey and Survivor. Their 1985 album, Cycle of the Moon, has the kind of songwriting that could soundtrack a vintage coming-of-age movie. Soaring vocals, cinematic keys, emotional guitar solos, it's everything 80s rock should be. But in a decade crowded with 1,000 neon-lit bands, Prophet just couldn't catch that lucky break. The 80s gave us larger-than-life rock stars, but it also gave us bands who lived and breathed music without ever hitting that mainstream jackpot. These bands weren't just background noise, they were the pulse of countless smoky bars, high school parking lots, late-night car rides, and garage parties where dreams were made. Maybe you missed them the first time. Maybe you loved them back then, but forgot somewhere along the way. Either way, it's time to crank them up again.